I'm going to go over 3 tickers starting with Palantir. The ticker made it to the top of my leaderboard, so of course I have to cover it again, and I also own it, so I do like to track it. We ended the day at 127.72, up 6.51%. This is where we are at resistance. To the north side takes us to roughly 129.30, another potential take profit area. Above that at 3SD 131.83, and at 4 standard deviations, should we be so lucky to get to this level in one day, that will be 134.43. To the south side takes us to roughly 124.08. Below that, a gap forms at roughly 119.38. Negative 2 standard deviations is 118.92. Another level of support and another potential buy-in area. Below that, 116.36 and roughly 113.76. I do not anticipate we get to this level, period, but for some freakish reason, should we get there and we wick down, it will bounce off that line. There will be a pile in of people buying the dip. Now looking left, we have this gap that I talked about on Thursday, I think it was. Yeah, Thursday. And there was a potential for it to touch and close, but it did not. It actually ran up to resistance, went sideways, and then up to resistance again. So this gap is still in play to the downside, taking us to 120.59. Then we have another gap taking us down to 118.47, and then another one down to 110.57. Now, everything else looks good. Oh, this gap I apparently did not clean up the last time I looked at this. We had a gap. Let me move this. Let's just delete this line. All right, so we gapped down. So I anticipate this gap to fill to the upside, and it's started at 129.24 to 126.01, and then when did it touch? It touched on Friday the 30th. So congrats if you played that move to the upside. And I think that looks good there. The articles that I'm reading about Palantir working with the Trump administration, compiling information about Americans freaks me out a little bit. I mean, I love Palantir, but I don't need more government spying on us. And I understand that they're going to be spying on terrorists, spying on all these other people, but guess what? If they can spy on the terrorists, they can also spy on everyday people or people the government doesn't like, people that speak out. And I don't like that. So I will be watching that very closely. But it doesn't matter. I'm still making money off of Palantir, and I do love the company. But just what I'm reading does, again, freak me out. I mean, I understand that the government spies on you anyway. If you go anywhere, there are cameras everywhere you go. You're being spied on. But it's what are they doing with that information? Okay, so that's Palantir. And congrats if you were in on mRNA up to the upside here at 5.13%, and Target, which I've done many times, up 4%. Now the next one I want to go over is, oh wait, before I do, the 1-year price target. We already hit 125, and I marked out that level a long time ago. So then when I looked at it again on May 14th, the price target on the high end reached up to 150, and from where we were, that was a 15% return, and then I just checked it again, and now the 1-year price target is $160, which represents a 25% return from where we are. So it is quietly going up. But obviously, we're also taking a hit. And when I last looked at the middle of the trend, we were here, and now we are here. So we are stair-stepping it down, even though we went up to resistance. And again, this is your take profit, take profit, take profit line. Your set a sell limit, a limit, or perhaps a stop loss, stop loss, stop loss, or a potential buy-in. Depends on what side of the line that you are playing. Okay, but it's nice to see long term. It's going up, but watch out for the landmines to the south side. Now let's go to AVGO, and I'm talking about this one because Trader Marat pointed it out, so I'll talk about that in just a moment. But first, let me give you price targets for Monday. So we ended here at 246.93, down 5%. To the north side will take us to the middle of the trend as well as the beginning of a gap. Okay, if we go up, this is resistance. I will anticipate a sell-off as people take profits at this level. We could chop sideways, or again, we are still going down, so we could just grind along here. And the next level after that, obviously many levels of support and resistance in between. Draw your trend lines, your Fibonacci, your VWAP. Turn on your buy and sell bots, just however you like, but I'm just giving you the window here between -2 and 2 SDs, and that would be 263.31. Don't hold your breath for this level, 268, roughly 16, and just for giggles, I'm giving you this, but I don't anticipate it. I should just delete this line, 272.81, but that's big in the big picture that we're not in. All right, 244.50, 239.59, and roughly 235.07. Resistance, sell off. This is support going down, but we bled right through it and then bounced off of this old line, which happens to be a price target that we already hit. And on the way up, this is going to turn into resistance again, and then sell off here. Now, Marat said on the 2nd that he took some profits for me to pay attention to AVGO because we've tracked this many times together. He thinks this could hit between possibly 260 and 280 down the road, even though we have two gaps to the downside to be aware of. So 260 to 280, and the 1-year price target, oh, look at that. So he's on point with trading views estimates, but I know he does his own technical analysis and fundamental analysis, which I don't do on this channel. I have enough stuff to do, and that I don't go over. I let the big wigs do that. I just do technical, and that's fun for me. All right, so 280, oops, I'm going to delete this one. Let's try that again. Delete. Okay, what I'm going to do is double tap on that. So that's 1 year price target. I'll just say 280. And I'll show you 280. Here I'm going to put trading views just so that I can get a calculation as well, because I don't want to do the math myself when somebody else has done it for me. All right, 280 coordinates, 280.56. All right, so that's here. So we are nowhere close, and we're going down, so be aware of that. But this is in the big picture, the 1-year price target. And we have a gap to the downside. Remember, he mentioned 2 of them, but there are actually more. All right. And then we have this one that will take us to roughly 208. And then I saw another one down here that will take us to roughly, I'll change the color later to red. I like to keep this color coded. Okay, and oh, another big gap here. Many landmines to the south side to retrace to levels where we gapped up. We like to fill. I want to fill. And those are fun opportunities to get in or to get out and to play those gaps. So let me flip this over to the daily. Like I said, We've tracked this many times before, and I really shouldn't even be going to this because it makes my chart wonky when you go from the 5 to the daily, the weekly, the monthly, because TradingView now makes it wonky when they never did. It used to be different, and I liked that better. The enemy of good is better sometimes, and in this case, it's definitely worse. Okay, see this? Clear buy-in at one level of support. Clear sell-off here at resistance. RSI already turning down as well. So that will help guide you. And when I look at price targets, if I don't know, especially with ETFs, that they don't give you a price target, I don't understand why. I guess because they're always buying and selling and making changes. But if you don't have access to this stuff, all I do is look at this and we are here. So one side to the upside takes us on the daily, because you're going to get different buy and sell signals, to 67.83. This is what the analysts say here. And then I think we can go to 288.85, and then way down the road, maybe even 310.50. But that remains to be seen. I will look to Marat to tell me otherwise, to do the analysis, the fundamental to get us there. Okay, that's it for AVGL. I'm going to put this back to the 5, and I want to go over a trade I took that I didn't get a chance to go over. Too busy. All right, so we're at 0.75 cents. I'll just round up. So first, your price targets, 81 cents, 86 cents, and roughly 91 cents. This ticker has whipped us all over the place. I do have some shares that I still have here, so I'm going to try to buy. Actually, I did try to buy, but it never filled because I went too low. How low can you go? I try to go really low because I want it way cheaper. All right, what's happening here? Here is now the middle of the trend. I'm going to turn this to purple. The yellow was from 2025 that I tracked. Oh, the green lines are, I believe, where I sold out previously, because I've traded this multiple times. But don't trade it. It's scary. It'll whip you around. Okay, there's a gap to the south side that will take us to 67.96, and I think I have a buy order at 67 on the dot, because I played at this level before, and I'm trying to buy it again at this level. So the range to the south side would be 60 cents. We never really get to these outer bands, so don't even think that we're going to get there in one day. We don't move like that with charge point very much. But if you're looking at long term, well, 57 cents and 52 cents. There was some good news because they were partnering with somebody. Where did I see the article? I saw it somewhere else. I don't know where it is now. Oh, here. You look at this. There aren't enough EVs. Charge point stock is dropping. But here's another article, down nearly 23% here. And where is it? I don't know where the article went, but they partnered with somebody, so it did run a little bit. But earnings, look at this. I mean, for a company that, when you just look at the headlines, it looks scary, right? But look, they reported $97 million. Not too shabby. So just looking at the headlines and you don't look at this, you're like, oh, did they just bring in a couple mil? No, 97 million. But the estimate, the word on the street, was 100 million. Ridiculous, right? So they didn't make it. So then they get punished. But of course, it's earnings, and then you get punished anyway. So we've got gaps to fill here. That's still a wound. We've got a wound here. It looks like it touched, but no cigar. Okay, to the south side, 65-ish. Okay, and then we've got this one. And then this one touched. So we're done here. That touched right there on May 5th. That took us down to 60 cents. Oh, like I said, it's been a long time since I actually did a video on this. Yeah, I don't really want to do videos on these types of tickers because if you get into it, it's just dangerous. Go for something within Vanguard's Total Stock Market Index Fund where a lot of people trade, the institutions trade, so you'll get saved. 65.80 there. And set a stop loss. Never forget to do that with these little penny, I don't know what you call it, not penny stocks, but okay, that is done. That took us to 0.6969. Delete. Garbage. Okay, oh, that touched right there. Just a very small short play to the upside. All right, that one closed. Oh yeah, I did a tiny quick trade here just to sell off because I didn't like my buy-in area. And then look at that. Bases go sideways and boom, I could have sold out here. That's what happens. When you play the longer game, you do make more money. That's with stocks and real estate. Okay, and I know that because I'm deep into real estate. All right, 88 cents. That's my target. I have, oh, so what I'm going to try to do is get this for lowered, okay, and then pick it up and then sell it at 88. All right, that's all. I'm not going to clean up all this stuff with you guys. But that's charge point. And I will be doing my Sunday gap and go trades coming up as well. So if there is a ticker that you want me to go over, please let me know and have a great trading week.